This set of 190SL Solex carburetors was just sent to me for testing and adjustment. Somebody else did the rebuild, but before I even strapped them onto the test engine and tried to adjust them, I wanted to go over them, give you an idea what you should look for on your carburetors, and of course I will send this to the owner of these carburetors and give you an idea what needs to be done, what I'm going to be doing to correct problems on his carburetor. First of all, when you want to check the choke mechanism, it's pretty hard. Sometimes it can be difficult to make these choke mechanisms work properly. So what you want to do is you want to check for freedom of movement here. That's a little stiff. And of course, minor detail, choke is not working. Butterfly is not snapping up into the closed position like it should. So we got a problem here. Chances are the butterfly is just not adjusted properly. If you can probably see the gap underneath here, and it's just not going to close properly. So we've got to remove the butterfly screws and try to adjust the butterfly so that it works properly. And that also has to do with the screws, the shaft, in terms of it's centered in the carburetor body, because this slot has to be centered in the bore of the carburetor. Next we're going to go, let's see, we're missing a binding screw here. We're going to check more of the choke mechanism. You see right here, this little teeny screw. Let's put this on macro. This little teeny screw right here is very critical. That's part of your fast idle when you choke the car, and you've got to have a jam nut on here. And if this little screw comes out, you have lost your fast idle and your choke mechanism, and it will make your car hard to start. Now we're going to proceed around here. Go back to non-macro. Now, very critical, we want to check to see how everything looks from this angle. This shaft is pretty well bent. That needs to be corrected. Now we want to check to see how our butterflies are closing. First barrel is not terribly critical. The second barrel is very important. One problem we have right here is a big old nick on the butterfly. Let's see if I can keep from moving that around. Sorry about that. Got a nick on the butterfly that's going to keep it from closing properly. I've got some other used butterflies that I will put on there. Next we want to check for fit. The butterfly has got to close. This is on the second barrel. Get you oriented here. First barrel, here's the second barrel. Now the butterfly has got to close as perfectly as possible in the second barrel, and this one's not going to do the job very well. For starters, it doesn't even close when the linkage, when the first barrel is closed. So we got the first barrel closed here. Now let's check over here. It does not close. It's got a pretty good gap right up around here, and then you can check that by turning it around, holding the carburetor up to a strong light, and looking through the barrel and seeing how much light it appears around the perimeter of the butterfly. You can't see it from this direction. Here, let's see if I can get you a look down in there. All right, see the light in the lower left quadrant? It's not closing completely. It's going to leak air, and that's going to make it difficult to operate. So there's something wrong with the butterfly and or the linkage, which is not allowing this one to close properly, and that's going to be a problem. Let's see, we want to check our initial adjustment on the idle mixture screws. Idle mixture screws on the first barrel should be in 1.5 and out. I'm sorry, closed. You screw it in, close it, and then back it out 1.5. So here's a half, here's a half, here's a half. That's our initial setting, and this should be closed. See, that wasn't closed, so that would make things difficult to operate properly. All right, and also we got to set up this linkage right here. This screw right here helps close the second barrel butterfly, and you need a little bit of play. So right now you can see this thing is not, there's no absolutely no play here, so this has to be adjusted to where you got a little bit of play, and that way it keeps the second barrel from artificially keeping the first barrel open. So you need a little slop here. Now let's check to see what kind of movement we got on the throttle, on the bushings, on the throttle shafts. Just on macro and see if you can see the movement. It's a whole bunch of slop in that throttle shaft. That is going to be a tough carburetor to adjust, because you're going to have air coming in through the shaft here, and you're going to try to adjust things up here where all the passageways are flowing through this idle mixture screw and this one. And if this one doesn't shut off completely, and if this one doesn't adjust, because there's so much air coming in here, you have unmetered air coming in, and you're just not going to do very well in terms of adjusting those carburetors. Let's take a look on this one here. Alright. See if this butterfly will work for us. It's not too bad. Now I've already gone in here and checked this butterfly, and it was indeed way out of adjustment, and I didn't like the screws that were in there, so I loosened the screws, or put in new ones, and then rotated the butterfly to where I get the best possible fit inside the bore. And again, we're going to have to adjust, make sure that these are and this, again, another one of these, this rod is bent as well. And let's check our mixture screws. Alright, we need that out. There's a half. There's initial setting, and that needs to be closed off, and that one was not closed off, so that was going to give us trouble. All we can do is try, see if these things will work. See if there's so much slop in that throttle shaft, I don't know that these are going to work very well. We'll give it a try. But those are some of the basics. Oh, I know what else I was going to show you. Yes, inside the second barrel. One of the reasons that the second barrel butterfly will not seal up is, after years of banging, of the butterfly banging inside the bore, you get this groove around here. That groove is where the butterfly has been seating for years and beating a pathway into the body. As the throttle shafts wear, you get yourself a kind of an oval pattern in here. This is and the butterfly no longer knows where to seat. It's got nothing to seat against. So that's one of the reasons you need to get bushings, throttle shafts, and new butterflies made.